Good evening, everyone. We are Slam Fest Eve right now. If you're within 6 hours, get in your car, drive over to Montreal, and be there where all of the stars will be at Hotel Ruby Foos tomorrow, including the young lady that you're seeing in front of you. You can buy an autograph photo or autograph card, but you can meet her in person at Hotel Ruby Foos tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. The one and only Dynamite Doll, a.k.a. Bronwyn Billington. Thank you so much for joining us on the Captain's Corner Happy Hour.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is a blast. My first time in Montreal and my very first convention. I'm excited. Hope you all are too.
We're going to have a good time for sure. And as the room, builds up, we're going to have you maybe talk about each photo, maybe say a word or two behind each photo. And we're going to start, of course, with photo number one.
Photo number one. What do we have here? Okay. This photo, I'm wearing one of my own shirts from Fighters First. I think this was my very first online purchase t-shirt that I collabed with a company, and they're still out there. And also my photographer friend in Calgary. He's my #1 photographer, Visfix. Does all my photos. He took this photo. So a very special collab.
Now our number 2 option right here, of course, with a little bulldog. If you could talk about that one.
Yes. So me wearing the high socks, kind of a reference to the British Bulldogs and the socks they used to wear. And I'm holding literally the 1988 Matilda stuffed animal.
Oh, that's an original?
Yes.
Wow.
The WWF used to sell, and I've been looking for one, searching one for forever. And a friend of mine, Cameron in Scotland, actually gifted it to me. Sweetheart. He's one of my dad's biggest fans, and anytime I have a question about photos and I don't know the answers, I actually turn to him. So he's amazing. Encyclopedia. Shout
out to Cameron. And by the way, I want to point out on my right, but on the left of, the doll, can you tell us about that? I didn't even know you were bringing that. And you were just casually brought up, but that's a really cool item. Can you tell everyone about that belt right there?
That is the WWF World Tag Team Wrestling Championship belt that my dad and Davey held. 1980, oh gosh. 6?
Yeah, 86, 87, yeah.
Yeah, 86. They would have won those when Ozzy was in their corner, I believe, or did they lose it?
Oh. Yeah, it was WrestleMania 2.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm a little rusty there. I was, give me some. I was 2 years old.
No, yeah. We know the history.
Baby here, but someone gifted me this belt, and it was really thoughtful. And so I wanted to bring it here today to show off for the first time.
And that's the cool thing, is that if you can't make it to Slam Fest, and why wouldn't you be at Hotel Ruby Foos tomorrow? You can see it live. Like, that's history right there. Really cool item. That, kind of a surprise item. Number 3, speaking of awesome, wrestling royalty. Can you tell us about that photo?
Okay. This is my most recent photo shoot that I did. And, again, my boy Visfix. And I totally styled and came up with this idea, stealing the idea of Jessica Simpson. She recently had a comeback. I love Jessica Simpson. Her new shit's a little bit country, which I'm not totally into, but I love her. I love her style. And she posted a photo shoot recently, and she was like in the tub, fully clothed, of course. But she had lipstick writing on the wall, on the tile. And I was like, I'm going to do it for my next photo shoot. Ooh. So I collabed it with, I'm like sweet and also like, silent heavy metal. So, and British, of course. This blonde sweetie wearing UK gear with some heavy metal boots. So that's picture number 3, guys.
Now, number 4, we got some horns in this photo. I'll trade you out. Our number 4 options. This is number 3, by the way.
Yeah, number 4. Okay. So I took this photo myself. I tried to start sometime, because I take so many photos, and it's hard to have a photographer with you 24/7. So this is kind of when I first started playing with stuff in my basement. I'm wearing a Liverpool scarf, because that's my soccer team. And it was Christmas time, so I also have Christmas gear on. You can't totally see it. I'm wearing like Mrs. Claus fuzzy, adorable shit, but also some double horns, because I was playing a heel gimmick at the time in the Manson family. So that's picture number 4.
Picture number 4. And then our last solo option right here is the number 5 photo from...
And again, we have just the same photo shoot, high socks. I have Matilda from 1988. But this is the signature Dynamite Doll pose. So for 13 years, I've been a wrestling manager. And the very first promo photos I ever did, I was wearing this. Or not wearing, I was doing this pose. That was my first pose, on the knees with the high socks, and it's just stuck with me. That's my pose, guys. Stay dynamite. One of my very first sayings since I've started in this business, and it was kind of cheesy, but I'm like being kind of cheesy sometimes, so.
Well, let's talk about it because, of course, the business is in your blood, but at the same time, you still got back into it, I guess we could say, right? Why don't you talk about how that started and, kind of developing as a manager?
Yes. My very first show, it was going to be a one-time thing. Just a tribute show to Stampede wrestlers, and I was dating a wrestler at the time. They're like, he's like, do you want to walk me to the ring? And you'll be part of the Battle Royal, which opened up the show, and they're going to do tribute for all the Stampede wrestlers. And so I said, okay, and my family came and did it one time. So I took those promo photos the first time that I did this, like kneeling. I literally took the photos in my bedroom, kneeling like this with my high socks. And we photoshopped the background, and it looked kind of cool. And then someone's like, so you need a name now? I'm like, what? Do I? Like, okay, yeah, I guess. It was one show. Like, I thought it was just Bronwyn Billington, but no. Someone was like, what about the Dynamite Doll? His name is Spencer Tapley. And he was was he ever a promoter? He was a promoter at a time, but for this show, yeah, he was part promoter of this first show that I ever did. And I guess it was like a tribute, or he kind of thought of it like a spin on the Diamond Doll. So he was like, what about the Dynamite Doll? And it fits so perfectly.
It does. It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, that I obviously just kept it forever. And, here we are today. I forget where I was going with that story.
No, that was kind of how you got back into the business. Stampede show.
The thing was, that was my first show. So I needed a name all of a sudden. Threw together this photo shoot, and I go do this show, and I had the best time of my life. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely coming back next month. And that's what started my managing career. It
wasn't just one and done.
No, it wasn't. 13 years ago. Born in, not sworn in.
Oh, that's a T-shirt.
Yeah, well, it's a Teddy Hart quote.
Oh, no, that's a great quote then. Thank you, Teddy. That's a really good quote.
Well, we always say it, born in, not sworn in.
Who's your soccer club, guys? Place in the comments below. Growing up in the wrestling family that you did, you probably had to see random wrestlers appearing in random places, and of course, just life between, being a member of one of the most famous, dynasties, can you talk about that growing up in that, as a little kid in that environment?
Yeah. We'd be Sunday dinners at the Hart House. That was the regular. Big, huge family Sunday dinners. There was 2 wrestling rings. There was always one. Well, I guess, was there one, 2? Or sometimes 2. And then the dungeon, of course. So there was multiple rings. And there'd be one for the kids playing, the adults would be in the dungeon probably. And there could be midgets, there could be giants, there could be lions, tigers, bears, oh my. And that was just the norm. I was a little girl, kind of shy. And, my dad was always on the road, so I'd be with my mom. My mom would take me up to the Hart House, and all of us cousins would play and have dinner, and we had very, very cool and unique lives.
Now, why don't you we talk about Jimmy's podcast, Give Me Back My Person. We love it. Yep. You've got a podcast that's starting up right now, an episode or 2 in, right? Why don't you talk about the concept of that and then where everyone can find it?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. So, recently started my own podcast. It's been in the works for literally like over a year. It was just a matter of getting over that hump of like the anxiety, and it's called Dirt with the Doll. And, but not only that. So when I can't sit down and do my podcast, I'm also doing like a side kind of concept of that. I'm calling it Diary of the Doll. So when I'm traveling, I'm going to be vlogging and recording everything. So I'm also on episode 2 of that. So I'm excited because I'm just branching out and like trying different things. It's on YouTube. You can find it under X Brand Wrestling. So like, subscribe, share everything I'm doing on my podcast. I'm going to have the hashtag Dynamite Kid for Hall of Fame. And that's the purpose for everything that I'm doing is I won't stop till my dad's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, and that's a way overdue, accolade that, whatever does happen, it's obviously going to be to both your hard work, his hard work, but it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Now, are you also in charge of the Instagram account for your dad?
Yes.
Now, you do a great job of posting with that as well. Talk about between social media, I know how much you can occupy with your time. That's literally a full-time job.
Yeah.
So tell everyone about, a normal day, because you got a family, and I know that's a full-time job. Talk about kind of the social media, running your own, running one for your dad. A lot of work.
Yes, so I'm a mother of 2 and a wife, and I have a full-time job, Monday to Friday. Manager at a beauty suppliers. I work in the beauty industry because it's my passion, and it also allows me to have freedom for all my side hustles, which is taking time off for wrestling conventions, traveling to the States for wrestling conventions, wrestling shows, and running my dad's Instagram, my own Instagram, my Patreon, my OnlyFans, my now podcast, and everything else that goes on with that. But a lot of it's my passion. Maybe not working, maybe not having a full-time job, because who wants to do that? But everything else that I'm doing on the side that makes me tired, it does make me tired because I love it. It's my passion. So yeah, so my dad's Instagram is official Dynamite Kid, and thank you for saying that I do a good job. That means a lot to me.
Well, you're welcome. You deserve it, especially all the hats you wear. That's a public hat. That's if you don't already follow the Dynamite Kid account, what is it on Instagram?
Official Dynamite Kid. So kind of what goes into that is I actually really appreciate a lot of the fan interaction as well, or wrestling pages, because if you go and follow them and they're doing good shit and you like what they're posting, you follow them, they see what you're posting and they like you as a platform, whatever, they will make good shit and tag you. So sometimes on my off days I'm not making stuff, but they're tagging me, they're collabing, which is so
That's
great.
big.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it brings up we're both kind of helping each other, and so I love that.
Synergy.
Yes.
Collabs is big.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I know, talk about two legit basses. You've been making appearances. I know you've been in Philadelphia a couple of times, right? Why don't you talk about Philadelphia? I believe there's been some signings there, things of that nature. Can you tell about what you've been up to in Philadelphia?
Philly is my second home. I'm now a Canadian American. And I'm frequenting Philadelphia Battleground Championship Wrestling. The first time I went was last July, summer of 24. And my mom and I went, of course, my momager, and we had a blast, and we were just everything, respected by the fans, the promotion, the venue was amazing. We just had the best time, and we definitely want to come back again. So we just went this past July, and same thing times 3. And it's such a big sports town, and I think that's part of it. And my dad loved Philadelphia. My dad went there and had a great time, and he was such a big Rocky fan, so it was so special to go to the Rocky Stairs, and yeah, just legendary. And that circuit of Jersey, New York, and Philadelphia, it's such a wrestling historic circuit. That's what I'm trying to do, is start circuiting that area. So I will be there again October 25th for the wrestling show, and I hope that any of you who are around the area can come see me. I'll be promoting stuff for my dad's movie that's coming up. That's what I was doing last time I was there. I announced that there was going to be a movie on my dad, and I announced it to the world in Philadelphia because that's how much I love and respect the Philadelphia fans, and I can't wait to come back in October.
Talk about the documentary coming up. I know that was the movie rather. Let's talk about that.
Well, I don't know. It's such a surreal thing to talk about. These movie producers reached out to us over a year ago, and they were like, "Hey, I want to do a movie. I would like to make a movie on your father."
Okay.
And okay, where do I start with this? You have to start researching. People have reached out to me before. Right away, you can look to see if they're legit or not. And this guy was legit, and got talking to him. He's a UK movie producer, and we are in the works of this. Well, not just the script. We're beyond that.
It's in development.
In development. Okay.
Designing cast.
So, yes, we are figuring out who's going to play who. And we're really, really excited. And that means I'm going to be frequenting the UK as well in the new year. So the plan is February. I will be there for the big convention that Manchester holds.
Oh wow! For the love of wrestling, that's massive. That's
Yeah,
a
it should be
big
there.
show. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a
I've
great
been wanting
weekend
to go there
yeah.
for a long, long time, and I think that this is finally our moment that we're going to be being able to tell the world a little bit more about who's playing who and all that.
Now you've done a good job of kind of getting merchandise for that out there too. And there's figures, Bendham's, Micro Brawlers. Talk about that process too, because I mean, there was for years that they hadn't released any kind of figures, and then there's figures popping up. Also, credit to what you guys are doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's nothing super, super current, but I'm always reaching out and trying to figure out the next thing. It's been a while actually since we had a figure, probably the last one. And there are still some, guys. If you go onto my Instagram, I have my link tree. If you look at the Junk Shop store, they're out of Australia.
Oh, yeah.
They're the Sofu line wrestling figures that they make. They still have those. I'm a big, big fan. And not only do they have my dad's on there, they have other wrestlers too. If you're interested, they have the Bulldogs. So Davey's on there, my dad, Tiger Mask. They did run with Tiger Mask. Bruiser Brody. That was their very first release, was the Bruiser Brody, and that's kind of when I started following them, because they had the Dark Side of the Ring episode, and then they came out with that, and I was like, who's this company? And I became really good friends with them, so definitely go buy those figures. That's our latest figure, but we're in the works of working on other things and coming out with new things, and this mind never stops. So I love merchandise, so I'm trying to get shit out there, and I hope you guys are liking it.
Those are cool ones because it's the Japan version of your dad. So yeah, it's like there's different. Yeah.
Like the shaved head, with sticker. Hopefully you like Wayne's World 1.
Is it Wayne's World 1 or 2?
1.
I haven't seen.
No,
Wayne's
it's
World.
Wayne's World 2, sorry.
That's the Wayne stock.
It's yeah.
I
It's
have.
when Garth's with, what's the hot chick's name? Kim Basinger. And they're on the couch and they're getting hot and heavy. There's so many funny lines in that scene, but he's really big on. He's like, got any Megadeth?
I watched that movie as an adult, but I'm sure there's a lot of funny stuff in there.
I don't know. That's what came to mind at the time.
Well, let us know. Are you a Megadeth fan, Justin? Let us know. Are you a Wayne's World fan?
Wayne's World. I'm actually not a Megadeth fan, but I'm a Wayne's World fan.
Maybe you're a fan of both. Our friend JD asked this question for the doll. What are your thoughts and memories of these two wrestlers? He asked, the best there is, the best there was, the best there will be. Bret Hart, we'll start with him.
Oh my goodness, my uncle. Well, I have many, many memories. My mom's sister married Bret Hart, so my auntie, who is also my godmother, Julie Hart, and our dads were on the road all the time, so us children spent all holidays together, birthdays, weekends, we grew up together like siblings, so we were very fortunate to have each other that way. And when my dad left, my parents split, my dad went back to England. My best memory of my uncle is I was acting out in school, and he was talking to my mom, and I was like, let's send her to England to see her dad. So he paid for my flight to go see my dad, and at that time I was 10 years old, and you could just fly without a parent.
Wild
So
times, right?
And we had a
They
layover.
looked after me. We had pigs.
They totally looked after
It was a different time.
I would never do that to my kids now. I was totally looked after. And we had a layover in Toronto, and I remember we got the kids' meal on the plane, whatever flight it was, and it was a burger, but it came in a McDonald's wrapping, but it wasn't McDonald's, but you felt like you were having McDonald's.
That's interesting. Oh.
Yes, and I never seen that again in my life, but that's what it was. But that's one of the coolest things my uncle has ever done for me. And after that, I remember it was, I think it was my birthday. And my uncle sent me a balloon with jelly beans, a big thing.
Brought it to
And he brought it to my school. He brought it, a big balloon display with jelly beans. And all the kids, to say happy birthday to me. Because my dad.
How old were you?
I was
grade 2.
7. It was my 7th birthday, and my dad just left. So, Bret was just getting his name out there, and people knew who he was. And the fact that I was sad and I missed my dad, and he came and did that for me, and all the boys in class were like, "Who's your uncle? You're so cool." And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like pushing them away, like don't fucking touch my balloons. And yes, well, those are the stories of love. I could go on and on, but like those are my favorite stories of like how he was there for me when I needed a man, a fatherly figure the most.
Well, you know the crazy thing is one of the second graders is probably telling that story. One time, right? Like,
It was
Bret Hart came in, I swear. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? No, he didn't. It's like, no, it
It was
happened.
literally during my class.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah.
I was like,
But that's the great
you're like writing it
boys.
like, your uncle's here. It's your
Boys start exaggerating at that age. So it's like if they're telling like your parent, yeah, sure, kid. You know?
Your dad left in January, and that was your birthday, 26.
Okay, so it's the next year.
I was that same year.
Gotcha.
Great memory. And the second name they asked about was Owen Hart.
Oh. Just memories of Owen.
Yeah, maybe a funny story because that's a nice story.
Unfortunately, I don't have all the stories about him, but my only memories are like he was always the fun uncle, and I remember this very, very clearly right before he had passed away. That I think we had a big family event somewhere with the Hart family, and he's always the uncle to get down with like the nephews and nieces and like just play with them and be funny and like just that kind of uncle. And his family was always so lovely and sweet and the perfect family that just didn't deserve what happened. Like they had lovely crisp shirts and religious and good people, and it's like just unfortunate that would happen. That's how it is. The best of us go young, as they say. But yeah, he was always that uncle, and I wish I had more memories of him. And he was, oh gosh, I can still picture it in my head. I don't want to talk about sad stuff. I had my very first Montreal poutine today.
Oh, you didn't. That's breaking news. What did you think of it? And give them a shout out if it was good.
Oh God, we just went down there. I don't know. It was okay.
It was just okay? I'm going to give a shout out. Thank you so much. Orange Julep. I wound up going that. Oh, it was
I have a picture of it.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, did you take a picture over there?
Yes.
It was so good. So I went to sit down to eat it, and I don't know if there was a nest of bees in the area. There were so many bees to where I ate it standing up and
Are you eating
walking.
outside?
I was going to eat outside, and then I was like, screw this, I'll eat and walk. And then they were attracted to the orange julep drink. But the poutine itself was absolutely amazing. So I will give them full
I feel
credit.
like maybe it was good, but like I don't know if we were. I don't know. I want like a real like.
I would suggest, honestly, it was still hot. It was
Well, we
really,
have tongues.
it was really good though. Yeah.
No, it was good. I'll show you pictures.
Did you get some pictures?
Oh, yeah.
You've probably, from being a manager up north, you've probably got a funny travel story or two involving the weather, or just, is there anything?
Not for me, no.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No.
Our Vanish.
Oh, okay.
Change the name.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Don't say my name.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank God, Mom. Well, not weather related, but okay. So, it was Mother's Day weekend. Let's start there. Was that our first out of town wrestling show?
Yeah,
I think it was our first. Like we're on the highway.
Okay.
We're doing their big.
Road
I think it's a May trip, a May show that they do every year. This promotion in Calgary, or sorry, not Calgary, in Alberta. And it was Mother's Day, so I'm like, Mom, do you want to come with me? Like, it was probably the first time we were kind of my mom and Joe on the road, and so this the van of wrestlers pick us up.
I'm looking out the windows like,
We're like,
oh, it looks
they're
like
late,
it's
because we're looking, we're waiting, like, what are they picking us up in? And we look out the window. He's fixing his van. Something's going wrong. Like, he's, the
tinkering with
he's
it.
tinkering.
Okay.
So he's letting the steam out.
Oh,
So we come in, we load up. He's like, oh, I'm just having this issue. I just have to
Let some steam out.
let the steam out every so often, and it's going to be fine. I'm like, okay. Get in.
He's pulling
We're
away.
at the
from-
very back of the van. There's no seatbelts. He's like, oh, yeah. We're like, where's your... Pulling away. We're like, where's your seatbelts? He's like, there isn't any. We're like, oh. Okay. I'm like, sorry, Mom. I'm going to kill you on Mother's Day.
it was actually Mother's Day at that point?
It was Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
And so we drive 5 minutes away from my house. And again, he has to pull over to fix like whatever his van is steaming from.
You had friends that had.
And then my mom and I are like, "Are we okay? Should we go? Like, are we safe?" Like, you know, because the moms or the women they're like more paranoid, like, you know, have their head on their shoulders.
It's a good thing you had mom there, though. Like, yeah.
And so then I'm texting like the guy that was managing at the time. I'm like, "This is going on." He's like, like we're on the highway and it keeps happening every like half an hour. He has to pull over. And we're like, "Is this fucking safe?" Like, and so the guy I was managing, he was on the highway too, and he's like, "Well, do you want me to pull over and pick you up?" And I was like, "I think we're okay. Like we got to like a good point," and we just kept going. But it ended up being like a really, really great trip in memory. But the
I
next,
just wanted to be authentic, like
Yeah.
real wrestling stuff.
yeah,
like,
we wanted to. We're like, we're safe, and we want to go like be able to live the story and like tell it, like, you know how my dad has those stories on the road, like Stampede Wrestling, and it was these crazy stories on the highway, like you're saying, the weather and whatever. We make it to the show and we stay overnight in the hotel, and it was the rankest fucking hotel. Oh my god. Oh my god. There was like bums, crackheads, whatever, sleeping in between. There's like two doors, like a door, sliding door, and then like an area, and then another sliding door into your hotel lobby. They just let like bums sleep in there.
In between that area? Wow, that's
It's in a
sketch.
very bad area, and the rooms were like $30 a night or something.
Oh my god.
So I was like, "Mom, are we gonna live? Like, I'm sorry that I'm gonna kill you in like Mother's Day, but she kept me safe." But anyway, so the next morning we wake up, and our driver, we go out to the parking lot. Like, where is he? Like, we're supposed to meet him at 10 a.m. or whatever it was, like checkout time.
7 a.m.
And he was supposed to sleep at blah blah blah's. Like there was a party at blah blah blah's, like some girly knows and all these other wrestlers.
Okay.
So we go into the parking lot, and he's sleeping in his van. The windows are rolled down. It's like
30 degrees.
it's 30 degrees. He's like sunburnt. And he's like
He's like,
just snoring, and we're like. So we look at my girlfriend. Like my girlfriend's a manager, and she's married to her husband, who's a wrestler. And lovely couple from Calgary. And we're like, "Can we please drive home with you?" We're like, "Please, like get
Oh,
in."
they were there too?
Yeah, they were
Oh,
there too. Thank
great,
God. 'cause
great
they-
timing. Yeah.
Yes, because we're like, this is
Yeah.
our ride home. You don't feel.
This is right. The guys that were traveling with them, they're like, just let him sleep till 11 o'clock. And I'm like, we gotta go for Mother's Day.
How far was it?
It's a 3-hour drive.
No, it's 4 hours.
It depends on us. But anyway, so that was the most like we lived to tell a story and like you laugh about it.
I would never.
And every year the memories come on my phone, and I send it to my mom, and we just laugh about it.
Well, thank you for sharing that
Yeah,
story
so
with
it's a
us.
long-winded story.
No, Mother's Day.
Shame
Any
to my mom.
Mother's Day, I'm sure after that you've been able to appreciate. Doll, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media? Maybe anything else other than Slamfest, of course, that you have coming up.
Instagram, it's Dynamite Doll, and you can find all my links under my link tree on there. So there'll be a link under my name on Dynamite Doll Instagram. Take you to my Twitter, my Patreon, my OnlyFans, all the merchandise, to my dad's page, to my podcast, and any future projects that I have going on. Even X Brand Wrestling, who I'm running a podcast under, which is a league from Jersey. So, and Battleground Championship Wrestling. If you're in the Philadelphia area, I will be there in October. So thank you all, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. My first time in Montreal. What a blast. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in tonight, guys. And once again, we'd love to see everyone that can make it out tomorrow morning Slamfest. If you couldn't make it out Slamfest, we hope you enjoyed tonight's virtual signing with the Dynamite Doll. We'll be back for one more virtual signing tomorrow with Lufisto. But of course, Slamfest, 9:30 to 10 a.m. Get in there tomorrow. Start driving if you're not already here. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And we're going to end tonight's virtual signing the way we do all virtual signings, which is with a cheers to the working man.